Hello and welcome to this week's platform meeting. It's June the 11th and we have something special for today. So I'm going to post the meeting notes or the agenda into the #SUMO channel. There we go. So we don't have any action items from last week. So we can just start directly with the agenda itself. And I would suggest that today we start with the roadmap items and then talk about the roundtable thing, which is screen sharing, the experiment that we are starting today. If everybody's okay with that? All right. Roadmap items, I'm skipping the ones we are already done with, and I have an update on the unified Ask a Question page. So last week I told you that we would be done by Tuesday, but unfortunately there was some unforeseen infrastructure breakage that the development team had to work on. So it didn't spill over to our users. They weren't affected by this, but they weren't able to work on the project. They had to actually fix that infrastructure issue. So because of that, the implementation of the unified Ask a Question page spilled into this sprint. It should be done actually within, I think, about a day or two. We had to move about 5 points into the current sprint. So definitely next week we should have this unless there is another breakage, but hopefully not. So that's for the Ask a Question page. And then we have the mobile product page redesign. We had the user stories already last week. The UX was ready, and we moved that into the current sprint. So if you're interested in the UX for this, actually it's from Joni. You can just click it, and it's an interactive UX, by the way, so a mock-up. So this is happening in this sprint. And with that, like if we implement that in this sprint, then we are done with the items for the roadmap. This is actually better than what we expected. We put in the mobile product page redesign as a bonus. We weren't ready whether we would get there or not. But we will get there unless there is another surprise. And we will even have a few days until the end of the quarter. So really happy with the pace here. So that's it for the roadmap items at the moment. Any questions about those? And if not, we can talk about screen sharing experiment. So a little bit of background for this. There is a project page, but it doesn't have all the information just yet, so we will port it over in the next few days. What this is about is finding out whether screen sharing is going to lead to more motivated users, like our contributors. Are they going to stay longer with us? Are the current contributors going to do more because of screen sharing? Because it's a different way of actually providing support. And are new contributors going to be joining SUMO because we offer this new way of actually supporting users? So how is this going to help us with growing our community? That's one question that we want to answer with this. The other side we want to answer with this experiment is on the user side. So is this going to help us answer questions that we weren't able to answer before? And is this going to help us increase user satisfaction on the side? Because we are able to answer faster, we are able to answer better. So maybe there are questions that we could have answered on text only, but it would have taken us a lot longer, and it would have taken a lot more involvement from the helper, from the user, and from the helper. So those are the two main things that we want to figure out. Is this going to help us with the users? Is this going to increase user satisfaction? And is this going to help us get more contributors on board and increase satisfaction for contributors who are already on board? So that's what we're trying to find out. That's what screen sharing is about. And Madlena is going to show us how the actual process works. A word of, there is a caveat, so we are really interested in the screen sharing itself at the moment. So it might appear very raw and very involved, the process of getting there, and we acknowledge that. But that's why this is an experiment. So we didn't want to spend all the money and all the resources to actually build the full platform to be able to do easy screen sharing, only to find out later that it's actually not solving the problems that we're trying to solve. So that's what this is about, like really validating our assumptions. And once we know about that, we can then justify actually spending those resources and building the platform that would make this really easy. But it wouldn't change anything about the actual screen sharing experience. So that's why this is valuable, even if getting into the screen sharing is a lot more involved than it should be. So yeah, with that caveat, Madalena, do you want to share the process with us?
Yeah, so this is going to be just some screenshots because unfortunately trying to run this thing live where you have the recording on it's a bit annoying because it's very, very slow. So Kadir and I will actually have a full video available hopefully tomorrow, which will show exactly how this works live. But until then, I only have like a few screenshots that I can share. I hope that those will be more or less clear. So let's see how this goes. Let me just share my screen. Okay.
So what you will see is that what's unique about this is really the way of getting into screen share. It's the Firefox Hello experience that you're familiar with.
Yeah. Okay, so again, this is just an experiment, so don't think too much on it. Just kind of look at it as something that we need to test and see how it works. So this is a test question that Kadir asked on the forums. So basically, this is how a question will look from a normal user. I mean, normally this is how they look on the forum. So what you will see new, if you look at the right-hand side, there's this button which is called Invite to Share Screen. So this is the button that we're going to use. Basically, the user will ask a question, and then we as contributors will look at the question, think, okay, this is something that is quite difficult, so it's better to try to solve it by screen sharing because it should take less time and without all the back and forth. So then you will need to click this blue button, Invite to Share Screen, and this will send a message to the user, and this is how it goes. So basically, you are clicking that button, and then you are taken to basically a private message, which is exactly the same that we have in the forums right now, with this message which says, "Hi user. This is me from the forums. Because your issue is hard to solve, we're going to try the screen sharing option." And then you have a description on how to actually use Firefox Hello. Because the thing is that the user himself will need to create a Firefox Hello session so he can share his screen. Otherwise, it won't work. So there are a few steps that the user needs to take in order to create a Firefox Hello session. So this message goes out. There is also a part in this message where we say, in case we miss each other right now, here's where I'll be available. Because it might be that the time when you see this, the user is not there, or the other way around. So what we were thinking is to maybe offer some time when the help or the contributor will be available, but that's up to you, basically. I mean, whatever you think it works better. This is just an example. Okay, so this is the message, and then you click send, and it goes as a private message and hopefully an email to the user. once this is done, this is how the question thread will look like. So after the invitation has been sent out, there is an automated message that says, I have invited the user to a screen sharing session, and I'll give an update here once we're done. And that's about it from our side. Now it's the user's turn to actually create the session and message you back saying, okay, I have this session, I'm ready, let's do this. Okay, this is how Firefox Hello looks when you want to start a conversation. So you need to click on the little smiley, which is a Firefox Hello icon. And then the user will need to click on Start a Conversation to actually create a link. After that is done, you have this, this doesn't look, it's kind of small. Okay, so this is how the window for Firefox Hello will look, and then the user will need to click on Copy Link, and then the link will be copied, and then he will just need to paste that into the private message, like he did here. Here's the link, and then the private message will be sent back to the contributor or the helper who wants to do this. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much the process that needs to happen in order for us to be able to do screen sharing. Then it's just a matter of clicking on that link and then having a screen sharing session. I'm not sure if there is anything else that we want to add. Maybe Kadir?
Yeah, thank you, Madlena. Thanks a lot for actually explaining this process. Just a couple of things that maybe people have questions about is the button. It will only be shown for people who are in a special group or get a special permission. So we don't let anybody just invite others to screen sharing, or don't offer this option for everybody at the moment, because this is an experiment. So we want to have like a group of people who want to take part in this experiment and want to actually help us understand how it's working. So we will need to ask people about their experience with this, and we need to have specific feedback. So that's why we want to have a tight group of people who run this experiment with us. And Madlena can add people who want to take part in this to the group so that they can then see the button.
Yeah, I think that is an important point. Just wanted to add to this so only people who are interested and they are confident that they want to do this will have access to this. So it's not a matter of everybody clicking the button and going crazy around it. And also, staff members will also experiment with this. So we'll all be there together trying to see what's going on.
Yeah, and so there are some issues that we are already expecting. As I said before, this is really we are trying to experiment and validate our assumptions here. So one of the things is timing. So unless people are online at the same time, what might happen is that you have to find out how you can actually meet the other person, and that's something that we want to know more about. Like, do you actually run into this issue when you do screen sharing? Like, you offer the times you're available. Does it actually happen that the person comes back and is then tells you, hey, I'm also going to be here? How often is that an issue? Because even if we set this up later, timing is definitely a problem we need to solve once this goes into general use. So that's one thing that we're interested in. Another thing that we already know is probably going to be hard is the process of getting into this screen sharing session, because as you have seen, it's quite involved. The user has to create the link, and then once you are in the video session, you need to then walk the users through how to create the screen, how to share the screen in the video session. So because of that, we are giving ourselves about 2 months of time to complete this. So it's either 2 months or 50 sessions, whichever comes first. And during this time, we will be asking questions about this so that we can hopefully also alter the experiment. If you already know that certain things are not working well, we can try to fix them without having to wait until the end of the experiment and then having to do another one. So we will monitor this throughout the next 2 months or next 50 sessions to make sure that we get the data that we need to answer the questions that we have about this. And that's pretty much it at the moment. So if you have questions about this, we can answer them now. As Madalena said, we will also have actual documentation of this in form of a video or a document that explains how to go through every step of the process.
Questions, feedback? Oh my god, this is great. Oh my god, this is terrible.
It's good. It's a great hack. Great to smooth it out.
I think it looks really promising. Yeah, I'm really curious to test assumption and see how users are actually. I mean, later on, how users are going to work with this. That's the tricky part as well. Like, because the best feature ever may be not really making users happy, and we really need to test that. That's it. So yeah, really looking forward to the test.
Yeah, I mean, we can make a lot of assumptions, but the whole idea is to actually try this out to see what happens, because right now we don't know how people will react. And we won't know until we actually test how people will react.
Yeah, the chicken. Yep.
Sorry?
Chicken and egg problem. We have, we want to know what's going to work.
Yeah, exactly.
No way.
So, let's give it a go. I know it's. I think the whole point of the experiment is to understand whether does this help us? Does this make the life easier for both users and contributors? Does it help us to solve more difficult problems faster? All these questions we will need to answer, and we will need a bit of time to be able to do that.
I mean, that's really what this is about, really validating our assumptions about screen sharing, because we can talk all day about this, but we don't know how this will work. Is this going to be a net win or not? So we don't know at the moment. Because what this is also going to do is, we have to be clear about this, it's taking people out of the forum, of the text-based forum that we can follow, and puts them into a one-on-one situation. So what we then expect is that contributors, after the fact, after having helped the user, come back, summarize the issue and the solution, so that others can benefit from that again. And that's something we haven't done before, so we don't know how this will actually work out. Because we already know that for a global audience, we are unable to do screen sharing, or generally one-on-one solutions do not work for Mozilla if it's for the whole user base. It's just we are way too big for that. But this is our way of trying to use this tool and make it still scale. So you'll have to see how that works and how that works out. Also, I have seen a question from Rachel here. So Rachel is asking whether this is only going to be on new questions or also on older questions, the button to invite people to screen share. So it's going to be on all questions, but that's just for simplicity because it was easier to implement that way. But of course, we don't expect people to go into a year-old discussion and offer screen sharing there. So it's really we are expecting good judgment from the people who are taking part in this experiment in deciding which threads make sense to actually do screen sharing with. And that's another question that we want to answer in the end. Like, what questions are well suited for screen sharing?
Yeah. That's what I was going to say, but definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a battery of questions that we actually want to answer, so I'm also going to share that questionnaire with you guys. So we are not going to do because the sample size is going to be very small. This is more a qualitative survey than a quantitative thing. But I'm going to share the questions that we have with you. so we can gather that over the duration of this experiment.
Yeah. So yeah, and because Rachel was asking, and I see Philip is already commenting on things. If you want to get feedback or discuss anything related to this, there's a thread in the contributors forum, which is called Experiment Screen Sharing. I'll share the link in the platform meeting Etherpad as well, so you can just go there and give us all you have. It can be both positive and negative. Doesn't matter. Don't be scared.
Right. I'm personally very excited about this. This is the first time we are trying a new mode in on SUMO. We have been always text-based, and this is a totally new thing for us. I'm really excited about trying this out and seeing how this goes. I think we should do this. We are spending very little resources on this. This is another great thing, and I think we should do that more often. So if you have any ideas about this, please bring them to this platform meeting so we can validate those assumptions that we have about those new things that we want to try.
Yeah, and I'm very happy that we're doing this kind of experiments, and I hope we can do more of them, because that's the way to actually innovate. So we might get some super cool ideas on what to do forward, in terms and anything related to like how can we best support our users or our contributors or etc. And that's it. I'm done.
Cool. All right. So any other feedback for this? If not, we can continue with just other things for the roundtable. Any notes or anything you want to talk about? And if not, then that's it. That's the platform meeting. Thank you all for participating this week. I'll see you again next week. And then I'll see many of you in Whistler very soon.
Cool.
Take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
How do I disconnect? This thing is always giving me. Ah.